Well, the Canada Post strike is over, so that means I have some mail to open. Time for another mailbag. First one up is this one, and this one is labeled as the printer times one. I know exactly what these are. Let's take a closer look. So what these are, they are wheels made of Delrin with a taper on the ends there, if you can see. And they have a pair of bearings. I believe it's two bearings. Yeah, I think it's two bearings, one on each side. And these are meant for 3D printers. These are the more expensive version of what I already had. And I was planning on building a homemade 3D printer, but basically they fit into these 2020 extrusions, and the tapers make it so that you can tighten them up and they'll self-center, they won't wobble. The reason I got these is these are about like $8 or $10 Canadian for the 10 of them. But I remember I was browsing eBay at work when an offer came up to purchase something and get $5 off with a minimum of, I don't remember what the price was. And so I didn't really need these, but my 3D printer does use these, the Tron XY X3A. So I figured if they're going to be $5 off, and these things are normally quite expensive, I figured I would just order them. So this is 10 of them. They were $8, but because of I was randomly selected for a $5 coupon when I wasn't logged in at work, it made them extremely cheap. So there's nothing special to see here except for the fact that now I have spares for my 3D printer, which is amazing. Let's move on to the next item. Next one up is this one, which is DuPont line, some Chinese writing, times one. It's actually kind of thick. And it's exactly what it said on the package. And DuPont indeed. These are jumper leads, mostly used for breadboards. There's 120 of them here, and it cost me about just under $3, $2.90 Canadian. And this is a variety pack, so it comes with all sorts of colors. This one is female to male. This one is male to male, and this one is female to female. I bought this because I'm always running out of specific colors, and colors are much easier for you guys to see when I make videos, so I figured I'd refill on these and have some quality content to give you guys. And this, as some of you do know, some of you don't, the male ends fit inside of a breadboard, like that, and the female ends, like this side here, fit inside or on top of pin headers, like that. So anybody doing like Arduino-y type stuff or breadboard-y type stuff should probably get a variety of these. And again, 120 of these for $3 isn't that bad. I cut them, I solder them together, I make them shorter. I do a lot of stuff with them, so it's good to have a whole bunch in stock. But other than that, they're just really cheap wire, so nothing special to see here. We can move on to the next package. Next one up is this package, and it says stainless steel flashlight times stainless. Pretty sure these are flashlights, and I say these because, oh wait, I think there's two flashlights, something else in the middle. Oh, what? A USB lead with a flashlight? Okay, let's take a closer look at this. So I knew I had some flashlights coming in because obviously it said flashlights on it, but I actually went and grabbed my box of batteries because I thought I would need some AAAs for this, but the USB lead makes me think this is going to be rechargeable. So yeah, that's a standard micro USB lead, very, very short. Where is my nerd ruler? So there's a nerd ruler there. And the lead is just over 6 inches, maybe 7 inches. Maybe about 20 centimeters or so, a little bit less. Now this is in its own bag. This is very light. I don't think there's a battery inside, but let's find out together. Oh man, there is a battery. Okay, this is like not very bright. This is pretty dim. Like my studio lighting here is quite bright, but this is very dim. So maybe it's not charged. I could put this on the charger. We can get back to it later. Let's see if the other one's any better. So same thing, USB lead. And this super light flash. Oh, this one's a bit, I think it's a bit brighter. Let's see. There's one. There's the other. Now they're about the same. This has kind of a blue hue to it too. It's not very white. But man, like this literally weighs next to nothing. Huh. Let me see if I can set this up to charge this, and we'll try to figure out how much current it's pulling. Okay, I think I've got something figured out. So I've got a power bank, this Xiaomi Yi, which actually is a pretty good power bank. I've got the charger doctor, which probably not going to be able to see. There we go. 5 volts, put it like that so you can read it. And geez, I'm still like, this thing weighs nothing. I'm going to plug this into here. I'm going to have to hurry up because this power bank will turn off. And into there. Oh man, it's quite a rough fit. Power bank turned off like I knew it would. Okay, so 5 volts, a little blue LED right there. 4.995 volts, 130 milliamps. What? That's a lot. Okay, so this is what I'll do. I'll charge one, and I will leave the other one uncharged. We'll go on with the mailbag, and then we can compare them after a length of time, because 130 milliamps, like honestly, this thing weighs nothing. Also, leave a comment below if you want to see this flashlight torn down, like if you want to see the insides, because I could do that, but it's a bit out of the scope of a mailbag. Actually, I don't know if you can see that, but the metal here is so thin. It's definitely why or where its lack of weight comes from. That's for sure. But anyways, I'm going to charge this one. Oh, the current's already dropping. 110 milliamps. I'm going to charge this one, leave this one off charge, and we can compare them later on. Let's move on to the next bag. I also forgot to mention on the last one that it actually cost me $3 per flashlight. So both those flashlights were just about $6 Canadian. On to this one now though. This is a card times 1. Whatever that means. Whatever that means. You keep doing you, China. You keep doing you. So it's quite obvious to some of you what this is, but for the rest of you, this is not a card at all. This is an LED. In fact, it's a cob LED. It's like a chip on board. And this one is actually meant for automotive uses, but Let me tell you, if you want to buy one of these to put on the outside of your car, they usually sell them as daytime running lights or fog lights or whatever. Don't do it. And here's why. This here is double-sided tape, which is supposed to stick it onto your car. And then there's these little tabs here on this metal piece, this metal trim. And these tabs, they bend up really easily. And then all you have is a regular 12-volt cob and the world's tiniest wires to put them in. So yeah, I say we power this up. This is not waterproof, by the way, so you can't really put this on the outside of your car. You could use this for like an interior light, like a dome light or something. But I mean, none of the actual dome light fittings would work, right? This would just like stick somewhere. Alright, so I've got my little power supply here. This is set to 9 volts. Let me just set that to 12 volts. I think you can just about see the voltage I'm setting it at. Actually, let's put it to 13.5, which is just about the voltage on a fully charged car battery. I've got these male leads on my power supply right now. I'm going to attach these female to female leads. So there's one, there's another, and I'm just going to squeeze the wires in here. And yeah, those wires are even too small to do that. So, well, let's see. I'm going to pull this off. I'm going to get into shot first. I'm going to just pull this sheathing off. Hopefully I don't pull them right off the board. It doesn't pull off. Okay, I'm going to cut this sheathing off. This will never be used as is in a car. At least it shouldn't be. So I'm not too worried about it. And if I bork up the wires, I can just solder new ones on. Okay, there we go. I'm going to take these and give them the old strip routine. Should probably get a proper wire stripper, but I feel as though I'll just lose it. 1 and 2. This was actually bought at auction, so I didn't pay very much for it. I think I paid about 70 cents, which in hindsight I sort of overpaid. I'm just putting these little wires into this terminal clamp here. I sort of overpaid because I think at a previous auction I got a pair of the exact same lights for about $1. But oh well, you get all excited. So 13.5 is the voltage. I want to be able to read the current, so I'll put it up like this. And it'll be too bright, so I'm probably just going to flip the LED around. My setup here should be a little bit better. Okay, here it goes. Alright, so we have 13.58. It's like reasonably bright. It's not super bright. And I'm just going to press OK here, and this is the current, roughly 500 milliamps. So this is a roughly 6-watt light. The heatsink on this is absolutely tiny, so this is going to get hot. Yeah, not too bad. But I believe these wires are actually acting like a resistor. These wires here, since they're so tiny, are going to be warming up a bit and creating resistance. Yeah, it's not bad at all. Like, it's not super dim. It's pretty bright. So you can't tell what the current is anymore. I shield that. Oh, current is increasing though. So it has a little bit of a bluish hue. I don't think it's cold white. I think it's a bit cooler than the typical 5500. But yeah, it seems to work. It's, from this distance, I'm only about 4 or 5 inches off the bench. It's swamping my studio lights, but my studio lights are about 1.5 feet off the bench. It's not bad. It's becoming a little bit too hot to hold. Whoop, yep. Current has gone up now, see? 600. It's kind of fluctuating a little. Oh, 700. Maybe I'll just stop it. So yeah, maybe not the greatest to use unregulated in your car, but if you had a fairly high wattage resistor, this wouldn't be too bad. It's a little bit gooey in the front. Very thin. I wish the heat sinking was a little bit more, but I suppose this would be easier to solder to, and then you can always stick a heat sink on the back. But yeah, not bad. 80 cents. So I got myself an LED, some useless pieces of wire, a shroud for said LED, and some double-sided tape for that price. I suppose I did okay. Let's move on to the next one. And last item for the day before we go back and play with those flashlights is an item I've been waiting for a long time, rather impatiently. Pack of 100 heat shrink butt wire crimp connector 1. So I actually paid Canadian $8.63 for 100 of these guys. And I don't know if you remember, in a previous mailbag I got this guy, crimp connector, and I told you, or crimper I should say, and I told you that these colors correspond to the typical size of the connectors that go in there. They correspond to the size of wire they're for. Well, this here should be for this. So let's open it up and check it out. Indeed, my prayers have been answered. Prayers, you know. Prayers. Let's take a close look at these. So what these are is butt connectors. So where you can put two pieces of wire sort of face to face and have a quick, easy, reliable connection without having to take your soldering iron everywhere you go. So the only thing is I don't think these wire colors are matching up, unless that this red is actually for this and the blue is actually for this blue, and I'm missing the size for these yellow, which is possible because these are massive. But let's give them a shot. I bought these specifically because this part here is not only insulation, but it has a glue that's activated by heat. So you heat this up with a hot air gun, and it should shrink onto the wire and also activate this hot glue, which will insulate everything from getting all damaged by the weather. So 3 sizes, should be about 33 of each ish. I hope there's 100 in here, but let's waste one giving it a shot. So let me get some wire and we'll be right back. So I found some very cheap PVC insulated 18 American wire gauge wire, and the red guys, these little ones, are supposed to be for 22 to 18 wire gauge. The blue ones are supposed to be for 16 to 14 wire gauge, and these yellow ones, which now I think I may not have the right size for. Actually, let's see. Put it in here. If I do, it's going to fit tightly. Maybe not. I don't think that really goes down all the way in the jaw. But this is for 12 to 10 wire gauge. So since this is 18, I'm going to try to put it into a red one and crimp it and see what happens. So I'm just rolling the X-Acto blade onto the insulation and then peeling it off. This wire is extremely cheap. I think I salvaged it from a power supply. like a computer power supply, but not a very good one. So I'm going to roll this around like that. Pull this apart. Tighten up the strands. Now how this works is in the middle there, I don't know if you can see, but down in the very middle there's a little bump, and I think you can see it here. See that notch there? There's a little bump, and you're supposed to put the wire in all the way to the bump, but no further. Right, this one, see the wire would actually be a little bit long. It's past the bump there if I bring the insulation all the way. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to chop it right to the bump as close as I can. And I just made a wire mess on my bench, but that's okay. Okay, same thing on the other side. Okay, I want the insulation come all the way up to the crimp. And then I'm going to cut this here. There we go. And tighten this up. Good. So now, this should fit in the red. Does it fit in the red? It does. Does it fit in... I'm not sure. Okay, so I'll crimp one side with the red, this one here, and I'll crimp the other side with the yellow and see if it works. So the way I do this is I set it up in the tool here and just cinch it down so that the tool's holding it. Put the wire in all the way to the stop. Okay, and then cinch it down. Let it open up. Oh, what the heck? Crimped both sides. Oh, well, wasn't really paying attention, but yeah, this tool does both crimps at the same time. Huh, well, let's see if we can get the other side in anyway. Yeah, okay, so it didn't damage this side, so that's good. Okay, same thing. I'm going to try it with the yellow crimp, or the yellow hole. It's a bit smaller. And this is quite a bit tighter. So the yellow did work, but I would say the red is actually the proper one. So now I'm going to give this a pull. And yeah, you're not supposed to be able to pull those apart. What side was that? That was actually the red side. So it looks like the yellow is actually the proper one for this wire. Just going to try stuffing it back in there. Giving another crimp with the yellow. This one's ruined, by the way. I wouldn't use this for a real electrical connection at this point, but I'm just doing a demo. Okay, so there you see, it's crimped on both sides. And now, you just have to heat shrink this, and when we heat shrink it, we should be able to see a blob of glue coming off the end. So I'm going to grab my heat gun. I don't think I've ever used it on camera before, so I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear me or how much interference it'll do with the lights, but we will see. Okay, here it is. It's getting hot. Trying to do this so that you guys can see what's happening too. I don't know if you can see the lights flicker, but I sure do. Gonna give it a bit more air. It's at 100 degrees C. Doesn't seem to be heating up very quickly now, does it? Probably shouldn't get the other ones hot. Let me crank up the temperature. Just set it to 200 degrees Celsius. Now it's up there at that temperature. So we can make it happen a lot faster. There we go. I can see it deform now. This is just a surface mount soldering station. It's not really a hot air gun per se. Oh yeah, you can see the liquid now. If you can tell, you can see the whole PVC jacket there is just soaked, and that is because of the hot melt glue. There we go. I'm going to do the rest. See if you can see this shrink on camera. Now if you just had a heat gun, this would probably go a lot faster. Since this thing is relatively low air output, it is a bit slower. Also can't tell if I'm in shot half the time, so I'm probably not. Get all that glue going. There you have it. That is a waterproof, very easy to perform crimp connection. Just quite solid. I don't want to tug on it too much because the glue is not set. But yeah, this is what the automotive industry, most manufacturers, this is what they want you to use instead of soldering these days, simply because there's less human error involved. And trust me, I've been an apprentice and I've seen apprentices do their thing. Not everybody has a natural inclination for soldering right off the bat. So I can see why manufacturers want you to use something like this. But yeah, this was $8 and something for the whole 100 of them. Plus I think this thing was, I don't know, 10 bucks or something. So I can do professional crimps at home now for a fraction of the price, because on Amazon these crimps, I think it would have been about $20 or $25 for the set of 100. So I'm glad I was able to snag this off eBay for cheaper. Pretty cool. So I'd say let's check if those flashlights are charged. Okay, well, so this is the flashlight that has not been charging. I'm going to actually take that clip off. I'm not sure I'll be using it. But yeah, you can tell nothing much has changed. Now the one that has been charging though, this guy here, you can see it's down to 20 milliamps. Voltage is dropping too, which is sort of odd, but I guess not too weird. So I'll unplug this, put it to the side, and here we go. So the non-charged one, I'll try to hold them about the same distance. So the non-charged one over here, okay, the charged one. So charged, non-charged. So I think they do put out about the same amount of light. Not much difference. So yeah, it's not very bright. It is extremely light. I wish there was a way to convey how light it is. I have a kitchen scale, but I don't really even know if yeah, okay, it has batteries. All right, so one with the clip still on it. Can you see that? Let me light that up for you. 17 grams. There's not much to it, There really isn't, especially once you take off this this rope thing. I don't know if I'll be able to get it off just like that. So this one is the nude version now. Doesn't have that silly rope thing, nor does it have the clip. Yeah, 17 grams. Must not be much of a battery in here. But yeah, if you want to see the inside of this, or if you want to see a closer look on any of the items in the mailbag today, make sure you put it in the comments below. And this lovely collection of items makes up today's mailbag. Thanks for watching.